I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired for my last job. Hot wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Beat my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're all the same. Ain't no way we'll ever change. Ain't no harm about the things we do. Or the trouble.
Stop telling us what to do, Cody.
That's
our
his job.
show. Oh,
Hey,
it
good
is
morning,
his job.
everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash, Brent, Commander Cody in the corner where he belongs.
You're joining us mid-conversation. Do we have this everything set right? Because I
think
heard
so.
some static that I don't usually hear. It made me think.
No, I think it's just your head.
Are the mics hot? Are we good? Somebody, anybody? Monty Howard's in,
Good
but
morning,
that's
Monty.
not the point.
Check that. Make sure that's where it needs to be.
That's
That's
good.
where it needs
Oh,
to
it
be.
looks
Yeah, we're going to
good.
try some new
It looks
new
good.
technology today.
I feel good. I like my chances. Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods pulled his tore his Achilles the other day.
yesterday, yeah.
Can he just quit playing? Isn't it ironic?
Steroids.
No, but it's ironic how the guy was on top of the world. He's still worth $1 gazillion. I mean, he gave Elon $150 million and a house.
Yeah.
But
And his indoor golf league is killing it.
it's good.
I haven't watched it, but a lot of people do.
But think about the idea that he was just out there philandering, just debauchery, and like was above it all, right?
Emperor wears no clothes.
And all of a sudden, man, it's like I don't
karma?
believe in karma. I do believe we reap what we sow.
This just tells me God likes Jack Nicklaus more than he likes.
No doubt about it. Yeah, there's no chance. Nicholas, the young, remember they used to call him Fat Jack when I was a kid. Rena Shear, the first one in. Wendy Hughes Garcia, and topping out the third woman, Ryan Hopping comes in. Ryan identifying today with Jimmy Choo pumps. Scott Snow, Justin Glass, Scott Tomko, Mark D. Kurtz. Greg Garcia. Good morning.
Garcia.
Good morning, lads. Daniel Wade White, not Daniel W. White. We change that?
Good.
Sarah Elkins. Good morning, ma'am.
Monty
Monty
Howard.
Howard. I like that. Monty Howard. And Monty Howard as the Beef. It has a
It has that
TV
sort of
name,
ring
doesn't
to
it?
it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Not Montgomery Howard. That's when he's older and wants to take on more authentic roles. He's just
He's trying to make it in Hollywood
guest,
right now.
Monty Howard. Yeah, I like it.
Junior, good morning. Bobby Leister. It is called a Wednesday.
Junior Samples talking about his love life. Hey, the right buttons got pushed.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Micah Patton, Ricky King, Mark Cepeda, Stephanie Conti, Sherry Jacobs, Randy Guttenberger. He's going to join us here in a few minutes via the interwebs and all the interesting stuff. BJ Nelson.
Hello,
Michelle
BJ Nelson.
Hawkins.
Look at that. BJ Nelson's heading off to leadership training at White Trash Services. They're growing to serve.
Jared McCrugan, John Paul Hall, Zed Stewart, Heather Stewart. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. Wade and Carter Weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerlawn Hayfeed and Ranch Services. Get on by. Get your stuffs now.
Monty Howard says there's an amusing story about his name. Oh, do share.
62 degrees, heading to a high today of 86. Goliad Rodeo weekend weather looking phenomenal for this weekend.
It
Friday,
is.
Saturday, Sunday in the 80s. No chance of rain. The slack is full.
Went to Cuero yesterday, junior high track meet. There's nothing, first of all, when you say junior high and then sports together, I just immediately cringe.
Yeah.
And because actually, Actually,
and rightly so.
Junior high girls track and field is more interesting to watch than junior high boys track and field because the girls are just better athletes at that age. But I went and watched
Except
Ryland.
in basketball.
Well, oh, yeah. Oh, speaking of, we'll get to that in a minute. Thank you. Make a note, basketball. Going and watching 7th grade track, Ryland was pressed into service. It's so funny. He comes home and goes, hey, Dad, this weekend or this track meet, I'm running the 110 hurdles, and I'm also running the 300 hurdles, which I think is the most grueling race in track. And
steeplechase, man.
And I'm high jumping. And I go, oh, have you ever high jumped? No. Do you have any idea what you're going to do? No, sir. So they do a thing, Cody. They didn't do this when I was a kid. You just had that straight bar that you have to get over. Well, when they're warming up, when they get their steps marked, they now have like a big bungee so that when you hit it, you just go right over it and it just goes.
So they don't have to waste time setting the bar back
and
up.
so that you don't get hurt or anything else. Well, Ryland, he weighs like 90 pounds. Well, he runs the first time, and when he does his little thing, he hits the bungee, and I thought for a minute it was like in a slingshot him, but instead the standards collapsed. Metal went everywhere. And Dawn and I were just, flat laughing. And
so the time-saving efforts of not having to put the bar back up were blown completely to smithereens by having to put the whole thing back up.
When he did the real thing, he ended up with a big old strawberry on his right hip because he basically just ran up there, ran into it, and fell down.
Well, when my daughter Tyler used to do the high jump, we used to call it the high plow.
Right, because you just run.
It was straight through the bar.
You run right over it.
Almost
Couple of
every
quick
time.
things. We're going to have a great guest this morning, and Randy Guttenberger. He's going to join us live. Back to basketball. Can anybody explain to me why the WNBA players, led by one Angel Reese, you'll remember that she was a really good player at LSU. Angel Reese chirping about, we're not getting equal pay for our effort. Effort being the operative word. Against NBA guys, they're all getting hundreds of millions of dollars, and like the highest paid NBA player makes $500,000 a year. WNBA player makes $500,000 a year. She says, if you don't pay us, we're going to sit. Well, first of all, nobody but their parents and like 8 fans would care, which is the problem, Ash. Sports is supply and demand, right? If there's no demand for
as
your
is pretty
sport,
much every product.
there you go. And yet these ladies somehow have it in their head, hey, we're out there busting our hump every night. We ought to make the same money as the NBA. By the way, the NBA subsidizes the WNBA like $200 million, and they still lose $40 million a year. And they
play half as many games. Their games
and they're not good.
I saw a comedian break it down, and his math seemed to make sense to me. But they play half as many games. They play 40 minutes total instead of 48 minutes. The shot clock is 30 seconds compared to 24. There's a whole bunch of variables in there. They play about 1/3.
Right. It would be like, there is no analogy that matters. Now,
so a friend of mine said, why don't they just put the NBA and the WNBA together and see what happens?
Because there would not be one girl ever touch the floor ever. And that's not a put down to the ladies. The girls' game is a game of finesse. The men's game is a game of power. They're two totally different sports. They just happen to involve a ball. Let's get to this deal.
And one the fans watch and one they don't.
Let's get to this deal, the latest issue facing VISD. I want to give a huge attaboy, way to go, good job, VISD.
And the SO.
And the SO, of course the SO, always the SO. But
yesterday they arrested a man, and I'm not going to mention his name because I don't remember it.
And we don't know anything about him. We don't. We just know that he
had 3 felony warrants for sexual assault with a child and a child, anyway, related to that. So yesterday at Cade Middle School, I believe it was yesterday,
I think it was yesterday.
Sheriff's officers or sheriff's deputies went in and arrested this gentleman who I don't know what his role was at the school.
I've heard he was a maintenance worker of some type. I don't know if that's a janitor or working on vehicles. I don't know. But no classroom interaction on the daily with children. But he'd been, I don't know, was it sexual indecency and something? Anyway, it was stuff of a nature that you wouldn't want this individual around your kids.
Or any kids.
Allegedly. But before, I think the natural tendency is to go, the public school. Well, don't forget, right here in our own, utopian society, we had a serial pedophile at St. Joe for years and years and years.
And then they just had a volunteer recently at Faith Family.
So basically, there are turds in every punch bowl. Just know that they're there and understand that I don't blame VISD for this. What I do give plaudits to VISD for very quickly.
Well, and people were quick to go, how do they not know he was there?
Here we go. VISD strictly follows district hiring protocols that include fingerprinting and conducting a criminal background check for every employee prior to hire. Within 3 days of employment, the district is required to subscribe to the FACT, F-A-C-T, which, federal something.
Database, basically.
Right, clearinghouse, managed by DPS. For each employee, where they remain subscribed for the duration of their employment. The FACT clearinghouse provides school districts with electronic notifications when an employee's criminal history record changes, generally within 1 to 2 business days. Like if you get arrested, within 2 or 3 days, VISD is going to know. So there you go. If an arrest is made, a DPS alert is issued to the school. They have forwarded this on. Hats off to VISD, A, for having a protocol, B, for following it, C, for working closely with DPS, and D, for the sheriff's office, the SO, doing their job quickly, swiftly, and protecting our children. VISD is my star of the day. Good job. Now, Ash, I realize that replaces you for almost 2,000, little over 2,000 shows.
Yeah.
You have been the star of the day. You remind me every day that it's you and then me.
It's right there on the back screen.
Wade,
in case you're wondering.
Wade and Carter. I get it. It's Wade and person to be named later. I feel like that guy, Cody, that got involved in a trade. And
well, you are kind of like Aaron Rodgers, right?
Go ahead, what?
I sit in a corner.
Well, nobody puts baby in a corner, but maybe baby Huey. I don't know. We've got a kid over there. Wow. Yeah, Scott Tonker says he'd rather go to the junior high track meet than go watch a WNBA game. I agree, 100%. The only person I can name besides Angel Reese is Caitlin Clark. I can't name any other WNBA players. And they're all mad because she happens to be white.
Well, and came out of college with more recognition than anybody in the WNBA.
True story.
Both of them did. Continuing resolution passed by the House, putting pressure on the Senate. We're going to get into the details on this with Congressman Cloud on Friday. He's going to come in. I really want to know, and if Damon and those who are with his office, why is the continuing resolution okay this time around when it hasn't been okay for the last 4 years?
Right.
Plus.
They spun it that Trump felt like what it did is a continuing resolution, but at no increase. It was like whatever they spent last year is what they're going to spend this year.
Which tells me the Doge cuts don't matter because they're going to keep spending all that money. That
Very
seems
possible.
to be the anticipation, doesn't it?
But didn't last year's continuing resolution raise the debt ceiling?
I don't
like they're saying we've peaked. We're going to hold it right there, hold it there until we get our feet wet and then figure it out and then bring it back down. By the way, you called something.
Problem is with that, I don't believe. I think right now the president has, and maybe because he's looking at the opinion polls and the job approval ratings,
right?
And they're tanking.
Are they?
Well, they're not where they were, but I don't know. I question why he wouldn't stick to his guns
Don't get choked up about it. That's me. That's my voice that does that.
I don't know why he wouldn't stick to his
okay.
guns.
It's okay.
I know. It's just the continuing resolutions get me all emotional.
I'm just going to say it's okay, buddy. It's just radio. We're not harvesting kidneys here.
Continuing resolutions. I just...
Funded mandate.
so hard to talk about.
The tragedy. Just give us a moment, Fire. Just give us a moment.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
I
okay?
don't, there, yeah.
Okay.
I got my composure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Felt like Sally Field for a minute.
Right. You love me. You really like me.
That'll be my question for Congressman Cloud when he comes in.
He may not
we'll get
listen
into
to
some
you.
of the details. He may not.
He's told me in the past he'd rather you not address him at all.
But so you were going to, so that's where we are with that. Geez, look at that. Lo and behold, Ukraine agrees to a ceasefire.
Trump's playing chess. Everybody else is watching checkers. You know, the guy comes in. By the way, Sarah Elkins, it was VPD that initiated the call and were on their way. They were going to get that guy right now. The SRO, the school resource officer, took action before they got there. Hats off to Christina Leanne, as she is passionate about what she does.
Don't know who she is.
But isn't it interesting that within 2 weeks of Donald Trump allowing Zelensky to expose himself on television, you'll recall, Donald Trump was the guy that was calm in the meeting. Sure, J.D. Vance kind of lashed out, which at the time, even you and I both agreed, maybe he kind of overstepped a little bit. But I was proud of Trump for letting J.D. Vance spread his diplomatic wings a little bit, if you will, as opposed to Kamala Harris, who, you know, went to the border once in El Paso and really did nothing for 4 years. I mean, let's be honest.
And stayed as far away from the border as she physically could when in El Paso.
Absolutely. She went and ate Mexican food, got on Air Force Two, and went back. But you've got to realize that what Trump did, what Trump initiated, within 2 weeks, Europe, Western Europe, all got together and agreed to increase their funding to help Zelensky, to help Ukraine.
To help Ukrainian oligarchs launder money.
And on the backside, Marco Rubio and some folks negotiated a ceasefire, which a lot of people are upset. And I get it. Well, if you have a ceasefire, chances are wherever the current boundaries are, that's where the boundaries are going to be. I keep coming back to, at what expense do you think we could beat back Russia to the original boundaries? And at what expense do you think that would last? Russia will not. Look, this is exactly the same, Ash, as if the U.S. went in and invaded someone. Russia is not going to accept Vietnam. Russia is not going to accept Afghanistan. We did that. We chose to pass on what it took to win a war. Now, would I have ever suggested that we nuke Vietnam? Of course not. But
instead of there being a North Vietnam and a South Vietnam, there's just Vietnam.
Right. But guess what? Russia may not be as patient as us. And in the long run, Putin's getting old. And Putin's the guy that might go, you know what? Let's just see what happens if I do this. Right? So you just don't know. I think the ceasefire is a good start, and I do believe this is going to cost, it's going to cost Ukraine some land. But
working on it, Randy.
If they sign the minerals deal with the U.S., and Rubio said it this morning, we listened to him live on some comments in Ireland. Rubio said, our presence, our contractors, and our commitment to Ukraine in a mutually beneficial deal. The minerals deal helps us because we're fighting China's essential mineral rape of Africa. And it helps Ukraine because it gives them a sustainable economy tool. That mere presence of the United States will be a large deterrent to Russia doing anything. It's just understood. Hey, my wife and kids are there. Vlad,
I agree.
don't bomb it. I don't need to put boots on the ground and insult the Russian leader. The Russian leader that talks to Iran and China every day, North Korea. You don't just go around because you're the United States and decide we're just going to insult you. We're going to build a base in Kyiv. Nothing you can do about it. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is something he could do about it. And I wouldn't blame him for doing it. If Russia came in next week and put a base in Ontario, the United States would be right there just above South Dakota. They would be upset.
And I think there's a little bit, and Randy Guttenberger is going to join us, and I think our technology is actually going to work today.
Do we have to give him a mic over there?
Yeah, I will.
He looks fantastic. Can he hear us? Wave if you can hear us, Randy.
Yeah, good.
I didn't say, I said wave. That's exactly right. I said wave. I didn't say thumbs up or, there you go.
Jazz hands.
Happy hands, happy hands.
People forget that when the world basically took the nukes away from Ukraine, NATO and the U.S. promised not to encroach upon Russia. And I'm not defending and making excuses for Vlad Putin, but you're right. It'd be like Russia putting nukes in Mexico and Canada.
We just wouldn't be having, just to give Randy Guttenberger a psychology type guy. We have one comment from Ryan Hopping at 719 says, why are we not talking about what really matters? Is everyone as upset as me that Rosie O'Donnell has left the U.S.? Junior Sable says, I bet there was an overload on that plane. Brian Small says, man, I'm tired of talking about Ukraine. We have enough to fix at home. I agree 100%. But we do have a duty.
And I'm not sure how the continuing resolution does that. But
let's have Randy. Let's take
a quick break.
Okay.
Should we take a quick break?
Randy, take another sip of that vodka. We'll get right back to you. Folks, USA Concrete Coatings. Sand it, seal it, stain it, paint it, whatever you need. Look at that, straight out of the Tito's bottle.
They'll get it done.
It's amazing. They can do all kinds of things with concrete. I saw a house the other day. It was on pier and beam, and one of the they were just cinder blocks, right? And one of them was gone, and you could see the beam. It was very stark. Ryland goes, look at that. That house is leaning. I go, that's right. USA, Charlie Garcia can come and fix that. Charlie can come fix it. Veracruz Restaurant today is
Caldo Wednesday.
We apologize for being gone yesterday. Wasn't our fault. Nope. Today's your day to get in and have a steaming bowl of Caldo de Res. That means with, meat, beef. Dollar Floor Store. Your friends.
Yep, the Floor Trader. 15% off. Tell them you're a Win Card listener. It might get you a little extra. Might get you a thank you.
Something.
But yeah, they just I've heard from a couple of you that have gone there and they had stuff that the big box stores won't sell. Or don't sell. I'm not saying they won't. They don't.
Or you need to match an old floor. They might have some flooring that other folks have just quit stocking. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen's your go-to to. Compadres Design for all your corporate advertising, whether you want to wrap it, whether you want to have somebody paint it, whether you want to do T-shirts, caps, the basic stuff. Yep. Compadres does it all. Para Vida Wellness.
Para Vida Cafe.
Yeah, Vida Cafe.
The Vida Cafe.
Coming soon, really soon. It's going to be super duper. I went there. It was great.
Progress is being made. I talked to Erica the other day, and she's blowing and going, getting that thing done.
Yeah. Unbelievable. All right, I'm excited. Yeah. Let's get our friend in here.
Let's figure out how to do this.
Well, let's see what happens if we do this. Addie. Oh, wow.
First time.
Now, look you there. Now, can we hear
Can we hear you, Randy?
Can you hear me?
Nah.
Hold on.
All right, I'm still talking.
Yeah, I think so.
He's not on the Bluetooth?
No, he's on this. This should be this one, but it might be.
Hang on, Randolph.
I'm talking. You can see my lips moving. Can you read lips?
So why is he not there?
I don't know. Maybe that.
This is it. So you have to do this in order to learn this.
Unless it's his mic.
No, mine says it's on.
I thought I heard something. I thought I heard something.
Mine says it's on. There we go.
It's all on us.
Yay.
Randy Guttenberger,
hello,
author of Managing Your Crazy Self. You can see the book cover in the back. And Turning Turmoil into Tranquility. We've given many copies of that book away. It's awesome.
It's an awesome book. I don't want to discount the content by saying it's an easy read. But I think
But it's an easy read.
But it's an easy read, and what I'm saying with that is not the analogies, but the storyline. the way that the information is presented, and I've told you this personally, Randy, there's so many times in that particular copy that you just go, oh, that's me. Yeah. Yep. That's me. And when you have the opportunity to read a book, by yourself, if you just read it casually, you're through it in 2 days.
Yeah.
Casually. And you find yourself, number one, I couldn't put it down. And number two, I literally was like, all right, I got to be honest. That's me. That's what I've done. And you start realizing that sometimes our brains are playing checkers while we're thinking that are playing chess while we think we're playing checkers. So this is working out great. The split screen is great. I'm visible. And okay. There.
Well, a little too much. Maybe.
I guess we'll let you. I look great.
That'll work.
Look, Slim Brent. Look, Brent's.
Yeah. Because the only other option is this, and that just spreads it out too much. I think this is better.
Well, that somehow Cody's in the shot. That's way too wide.
So
he can't be in the shot.
Yeah.
Well, the best thing is that it's got a lot of hear you.
It does.
Now I have an echo on your end. I don't care.
You're not bothering. We're just trying to fine tune, folks.
Yeah. There he goes. So I want to say the first thing, glad to be here, but you woke me up this morning saying the hurdles were great. I ran 330 hurdles yards for 6 years in my youth, junior high and high school. So that was
really,
yeah.
So let me tell you, when you know the race, I think it's the most gut-wrenching race in high school track. And I have a very dear friend, a guy named Randy Bermea that lived in Harlingen, who won the 5A state championship. And just to give you an idea, at state, he ran 36.5 in the 300 hurdles. And that's getting it. 36 is not a bad time in the 300, much less in the 300 hurdles.
Jumping things. Yeah.
What year was that?
2012.
Back
maybe?
when they timed him with a sundial.
About 2012.
Well, I ran in Harlingen as well. I graduated in 76, and my best time was going to be about 38. My best time was going to be about 38 something, 38.2.
You were winning a lot of races.
I did not ever win a race. I got better as year. I was a late bloomer physically. Every year I got better, and I busted my knee playing satellite football and didn't get to finish my senior year. I tracked it back then. I might have been 6th in the state, according to my time improvements.
That's awesome.
But I still ran a lot. It is a tough, challenging race, which means obviously I'm obstinate or persistent or tenacious or something.
Speaking of tough, challenging races, managing your crazy self has been phenomenal. Lots of the book is great. I got a lot out of it reading it. I know a lot of our listeners have, and now you're expanding that.
Oh yeah,
you're taking it to kids in the school level. So let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll talk about what's coming up in about 10 days here in Victoria that people can be a part of.
Well, we have, because I work with counselors in 6 states, and we have our own clinics, and we got the nonprofit to work with foster kids and veterans to bring mental health solutions. We bring a package of neuroscience, corporate tools, coaching, counseling, education, and spirit all in one package. And that's the unique thing about it, is how it all breaks the pieces down of each person, and then we synergistically weave them together, and it doesn't miss. It's really wonderful stuff. And so the counselors wanted to bring the concepts to kids. So now we have children's books. And I didn't bring one up here, but I can go get one real quick. But we have children's books, storybooks for pre-K to 3rd grade, all the way up with high school curriculum for career development. And we're getting great results. In high school, we get 20% less aggression with at-risk kids and over 24% life satisfaction. And that's phenomenal. The pre-K book is designed for
aggression with kids. That's like 2 students per classroom, isn't it?
There's no one out there getting those kind of results, or they'd be promoting it. And we're just starting. We're going to get the documentation printed here pretty soon. It's all written up. We just got to finalize it, and we'll start marketing it. So when I go to state counselor, alternative school, principal conferences, and things like that, because I go to all these things, I'll ask them what's their rate of success, and it'll break your heart. They'll say 2%, 5%. I said that would never fly in the business world. Everybody would go out of business. So we're thrilled with our numbers. So
well, we
explain managing your crazy self to folks, and then how have you adapted that so it speaks to the kids that you're trying to help?
Well, what's funny, managing your crazy is you reacting to your emotions and your feelings. And I'm learning to separate the definitions of feelings. Feelings is something physical, like you get a sticker in your finger. An emotion is something from an event. So you need to separate what those are a little bit. And so body, mind, spirit. Spirit gives you convictions. The brain carries emotions, but the body carries feelings. Does that make sense? You feel cold.
I feel like such a Democrat right now. I'm just saying. I'm all up in my feels over this.
And so the conscious mind has to override these feelings. They're just signals. If we just called them signals instead of feelings, we would take the sting out of it. You could disagree without being angry. You could be concerned without being worried. So it changes everything, the whole perception when you realize the crazy is you reacting. Managing yourself is what you're supposed to do, and you got to learn to do it. And so we make it simple. I make all the neuroscience simple in the limbic system, the brainstem, and the neocortex. And here's the secret. Everybody is fine in their conscious mind. In the neocortex, there's no negative thought in that part of the body. So the whole key is to move your thoughts to that.
And how do you do that?
That's in the book. You got to read the book.
You get to name your crazy ostrich. We call the limbic system where these feelings and signals come from, your ostrich. And the rhino, the conscious mind. So we use these little animals to make it simple because I wanted to be a wildlife manager. Now people are my wildlife, I guess. But the ostrich leads you to thinking, reacting with fight, flight, or freeze. And so when you name it something harmlessly ridiculous, you separate from it. Mine's foghorn leghorn. So when I get upset, bad driver, someone yells at you, something goes wrong. Foghorn's the one that's upset, not me. I'm fine. And so then I get.
Do you say, I'll move over there, boy? You're bothering me. Get out of my lane, boy. You're bothering me.
Exactly.
Okay.
The reason is there's a reason play therapy is 80% more productive in teaching than instruction. And it's because you move your thoughts from the limbic to the conscious mind. So the faster you do it, the more harmlessly ridiculous, the more healthy you are. Pretty simple. And then you give
taking this to kids. Yeah.
Then you give your crazy one gripe a day. Don't give it all day long. We're going to do this. And some people say, well, I need one an hour. Okay. Every minute, hand at 11, send your ostrich, go get a cheeseburger, get their nails done, get a hair appointment, whatever, and reboot to your healthy self and be creative. You want to be your creative self. That's really where your spirit and your conscious mind come together. And when you're creative, you're not in that negative thinking.
Take a second, and I know that it's deep, and I know that we cut up with you, and you're a dear friend long before you ever were on the program. I remember you talking about, I've got this, it's all come together. I've just got to find a way to get it out. And now I know that you just need to find 5 more people like you to help get it out because everybody's starting to understand the results. But take a second and explain how this is not some kind of mental voodoo, that the reality is it's deeply scientific, it's deeply science-based, and you just keep it superficial for those of us that just want the results and not the details.
In the corporate world, I worked to coach people and fix their people. And I said, you get 2 sessions. I said, great. I got to fix the professionals in 2 sessions. So I
buy in first, right? I mean, that's the hardest part is getting them to buy in. Like, who's this guy? We got to go to this meeting.
I was doing high school programs to transition kids from high school, who they are, because what we do is teach people who you are and how you're wired and what's your blueprint so you can succeed. And while you're a unique, beautiful fingerprint, go be that. Don't worry about the other stuff. Go be the wonderful you. And a dad said, you help me understand my kid, how to talk to him, discipline, study habits, careers. You never met her. How'd you do that? I said, there's tools. And so he said, well, you can help me in hospitals. So I started going to CEO and hospital teams, and then they all promoted, and that's how it just blossomed.
Well, I know you've been busy, and we remember when the first time you came in here. I remember the first time that you just came down to Victoria just to hang out. Dawn and I had a blast with you.
Well, I'm glad to do it because I want to remind you guys, I was born in Victoria, 1957. I only lived there a half a year, but the history of Victoria, I was down in Corpus doing a workshop and looking at the history of Victoria and how it was formed and where it's, just the wonderful pioneering spirit that it came from. And of course, my great grandfather came over in 1900 and settled in Rosenberg, and then my dad was in Palacios and went to work in Victoria, and there I was.
That's awesome.
You're like the mental health Nolan Ryan. Woodsboro claims him because he was born there for a half second.
And what I want people to know is the content works. This is the beauty. These children's books we have are great characters, big story books, with questions at the end. The adult reader asks these kids, what character did you relate to? It's about trustworthy and anxiety and just being responsible and how do I manage. The kids are teaching each other in the book, but you ask the kids how they think and how they feel. And here's the beautiful result. A foster parent, a trainer for the state of Oklahoma in foster care, had a 3-year-old daughter, foster child, 4 years old, that he read the book to that was really struggling with some trauma. We make these books coloring books too. She was reading through, or he was reading through the coloring book with her as she was coloring, and she got it. She got the concepts and went, that's what it is. And she was great. He said, all right, this is weird. He waited a week later. What had been bothering her for over a year hasn't bothered her anymore.
That's
the
awesome.
Kids get it quicker than the adults because the adults have all this distrust.
How have you seen this help with? We talk about schools with students that have test anxiety, and I truly believe a lot of that's placed upon the kid by the parents.
It's very true,
and maybe even the schools, because they worry so much about the tax and the star.
Well,
and all
the media in the world is wanting everybody to be a victim. And so they trigger your emotions to make you feel that way, label you and all that stuff. And the truth is you're mimicking what you're hearing. But when you choose, and we teach you how to be in your peaceful self, and it works for all adults on up, from 4 years old on up. This stuff's great. It's foundational. It's not fake it till you make it, like you're saying, Brent. This is real neuroscience made simple. You can do it anytime, any day, and learn to manage yourself. But see, we can't reason until we're age 7. So up until age 7, the brain's growing. That's how come the baby can come out. The brain hasn't grown. And so we're learning to reason those first 7 years. And so we got 7 years of mimicking chaos. First grade counselors, we ask them at the state conferences, what's the problem with first graders? They say anxiety. Well, where did they get anxiety? They can't even reason yet. They're just mimicking. Parents don't know how to talk to their kids right. And I'll say this.
Don't be nervous at school, Billy. Don't be nervous at school, Billy. Billy feels like he's got to be nervous, right?
Well, I'll tell you this. Couples don't know how to talk to each other. We have a great couples counseling and coaching program. I tell people when the husband comes home or the spouse comes home, don't say, well, you got to do this and this and this and this and where you been. We got da. Just start jumping in. That's not how a golden retriever greets you at the door.
I want her to come to that door wagging her tail. You're exactly right.
Sit in your lap and lick your face. That's what you want. And that's what we do.
Something right there, Randy.
We need to do our business meetings once a week like we do in a job. You don't deal with problems like every day is a grind. You gotta spread it out and do it at different times. So learn to communicate. And first you got to communicate with yourself. People don't know how to communicate with themselves. And so we teach that first. Then you do external with your mate, your children, your coworkers. But you got to know how you're wired and how your lens sees the world. So we're going to teach it. We're going to do March 24th, Walker Auditorium, Monday night, 5:30 to 8:30. It's free. We want you to bring anyone, bring professionals, bring counselors, bring nonprofit people.
If you're going to talk about licking my face, I'm bringing Dawn. What are you talking about? I'm bringing Donnie over there.
Yeah, bring face lick. You will learn your core wound that your ostrich picked before you could reason. Your ostrich picked a core wound that's driving you crazy your whole life, and you don't know what it is. You're reacting to stuff, and that triggered all your other issues.
Well, that's important. You said that Tamara Studer adds childhood trauma can affect how children and adults react in life. And you're saying that we all have a seminal moment, something in our lives that affects, like you see somebody that's always a worrier. Maybe somewhere in their life, mama was late picking them up from daycare and they just had anxiety. Is it along those lines? Yeah,
but it doesn't have to be trauma. The brain picks it, and the brain doesn't know the difference between trauma and a typo. It's like a metal detector. It doesn't know the difference between a belt buckle and a gun. It just sends the alerts. And you feel them, so you think they're real. They're not. They're just trying to signal you, what do you want to do about this? You're supposed to take charge.
Hang on, Melissa. We'll get the date and time again. Sarah Elkins says she just ordered the book off of Amazon. So good job, Sarah. Excellent.
Yeah. Managing, and it's 5:30 to 8:30 Monday, Walker Auditorium there at U of H. And we'd love for you to come. I sent you guys a link so people can register, so we have enough handouts and stuff like that. But I need to resend it again.
That's on the 24th of March, correct?
Yes, 24th Monday. I'll be speaking at the U of H graduate counseling program. This will be my 4th time to go and teach them. And so I get to do that down there. And when I'm down there, I said, well, let's just do a civic thing. So we did it once before. We had a lot of people. It was really fun. So we're going to do it again.
So I know that you have, honed this and you totally get this concept. You get it. How much of the time do you feel like you practice what you preach?
24/7. I have to live everything I do. Everything. Yeah. It comes in handy.
No, I remember, and you know what, you've spurred me, because I'm going to go read the book again. And once you've read it once, and you've done this, Ash, you can kind of just scan through and remind yourself of the little cheats, if you will, the tricks to get through your day. I think we're going to start calling him Dr. Phil instead of Dr. Phil.
No.
Okay.
I'm going to share the screen. Okay. I put the link on both the comments of YouTube and Facebook, but this is what it'll look like when you get to that landing page. It's on Humanitics, and it's Managing Your Crazy Self. This is for the Monday, March 24th seminar at the Walker Auditorium of the UHV that Randy will be leading.
It's a great facility. The restrooms are real handy. It's a nice place.
Yeah, come for the restrooms.
Come for the restrooms. It's safe for the lecture.
It's free, but Randy wants you to register just so that they have an idea of the number.
He's going to have some handouts.
We want to have handouts for you. We don't want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to cover 3 very important things. I'm going to go through the book quickly and hit you the highlights. There's great stories in the book that people love to read. Those are in italics in each chapter on purpose. But then we're going to show you your core emotional wound. There's a little chart. You don't tell me, I don't tell you. We do this exercise. You'll fill it out and identify your core emotional wound and your true peaceful art self. We use a little art therapy to do that, so we don't leave you hanging on the wound. But your wound could come from my sister got the blue dress, or my brother stole my bicycle, or my dog died. It doesn't have to be trauma. The brain picks it, and then from there on, it knows what to protect you from. And that's where it starts. And that triggers all your other wounds. Most of the time in any therapy, they're dealing with the symptom of the day, and that's not going to get you where you want to go, because you treat that symptom, the wound is still pounding like the Jumanji drums. And in the movie Jumanji, when the drums beat, chaos is coming. That's what's in our head. That's what the ostrich job is to protect you. For example, if you went down the street and you saw a restaurant where someone got sick at, I know there's none of those in Victoria, but if you saw someone got sick at a restaurant 3 years ago, are you going to eat there?
Probably not. But it's not really fair, is it?
Well, but no, because they don't tell you, well, the guy was sick before they got there. They changed the menu. They changed the chef. 300,000 people have eaten. No one got sick. The brain won't tell you the good stuff. There's no coding from this to give you good. The metal detector never says, I love your shoes, great hair, wonderful trip, go to this restaurant. It can't. All positive has to come from your conscious mind, and you're the rhino to take charge, have thick skin, blaze new trails, live as if you have no enemies. So
if you read it, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
I think every adult, especially if you're raising children, it makes because it will help you how to visit with your kids.
I'm going to say this. I don't know how many people will get it, but the deep psychology of what the brain is doing, your heart and spirit aren't intending this, is with mates and children, we project the childhood wound that we didn't get from our parents onto our mate. And in essence, we had to manage our parent because they weren't giving us what we wanted, and we created these coping mechanisms. And we're still doing it today in our relationships, and that is not going to build the relationship. And we got to teach you how to love yourself truthfully, not fake it till you make it. How do you really do it? Give yourself permission, enjoy it, create, and accept what the other person brings to the world, not what you want them to be.
I think it's awesome.
Jonathan William asks, is there an audible version of the book
Yeah.
or an audio version of the book? There is? Okay, great.
And what's really wonderful about that is I have a counselor in Del Rio that's blind that's going to learn to do the program. She's getting certified. And she listened to the audio version. And she said, Randy, it was great because you described every illustration. Every chapter has an illustration. That was for Brent. I was thinking about you, Brent, to have pictures.
I appreciate that.
And so she said, you described all the pictures and I couldn't see them, but it was perfect because then I could visualize because she could see up to 26. She got blind at 26. But yeah, there's that. It's Kindle, book, and audio.
Nice.
Well, I just put the event on my calendar, Monday, March 24th, Walker Auditorium,
5:30 p.m.
5:30 p.m.
Lots of seats, plenty of restrooms.
It's free and restrooms are free.
We just found Brent's trauma as a child. There were no restrooms somewhere along the way, and now that's all he looks for.
You cannot even imagine. Between here and the Rio Grande Valley, there's not a restroom I haven't been in.
I'm gonna have to give you a plunger for Christmas.
Right? Or a brush. Some of them need a brush, maybe some bleach. I need those white ropers, those plastic rubber boots, you know.
By the way, when I do these programs, and it's a coaching program, educational coaching, and my nonprofit NYS Education is why I go do this. I'm a Johnny Appleseed, taking these concepts to the world. We make it fun because that play therapy or don't barely get there. Don't just, I'm going to be better today. No, that's ridiculous. Go do something harmlessly ridiculous. Where if you put on your favorite shirt, how do you feel?
I feel good. I feel like I look good and people like me.
But what changed? The people didn't.
Self-perception. Yeah, just me, just my self-perception.
That's what I'm talking about. It's all in your head. And when you learn the parts and how to manage them, it works. But they're not teaching this. No one's really teaching it correct. They're talking about it. Mindfulness is still in the stratosphere. It doesn't quite get there. Mindfulness is good. It's ways to do it, but we teach the how and the why of what to do and where to manage your thoughts and how to talk back to them. You're okay to talk back to them.
I wish Eeyore over here had a favorite shirt. You know what I'm saying?
I do. It's blue.
By the way, I just want to say, Wade is such an anchor of the show. He just makes sure everything's truthful that comes out. And Brent, I just wish once you'd come up with a creative thought.
Right, exactly. I appreciate that, my friend. That's good stuff. Sometimes I tell Ash, sometimes the truth is boring. We have to kind of amp it up a little bit. I'm always wearing my favorite shirt, you know.
So you're really helping him out. That's the whole point.
That's exactly it.
Just pulling him through.
Yin and yang here. That's what we are.
Dragon.
Ping and pong.
How are you? How's your family? How's everybody?
On my end?
Yeah, on your end.
Oh, man, they're all busy and they've forgotten me. They're married young kids. You know, when you're in your 30s, did you worry about your parents? You're probably trying to live life and make ends meet. My kids are great. They're all married and we're doing well.
I'm not going to see Dad. He's so dang upbeat. What a downer.
You know what's funny is I'm watching them grow and they're becoming more like me, and it's hilarious to watch. We're gonna have those conversations with them.
Because they didn't want to become like you when they were younger, right?
No, they're trying to find themselves, right?
Yeah.
Every kid does. So, but
I
there's
love
gonna
it when my kids tell me how busy they are. I'm like, really? Okay, just come try to walk a week in my shoes.
Well, and you know, this is part of our development. As I tell people, you graduated 3rd grade. You can move on from things in life. We all grew up at one point, we were wetting our pants back to the bathroom, but we don't see ourselves as a pant wetter. We closed that door. We brought closure to it. Now we go to the bathroom. See, Brent, there it is.
Yeah. Yes. And the bathrooms are closed. That's my core wound is like, can I make it?
I think we can get there. So you graduated 3rd grade. You can bring closure to things. You know, it's great to have your first love. It's great to get over your first love. But getting married doesn't mean the same thing as staying married. Having a child is not the same as raising a child. We're developing all the time, and we want to teach you how, and that it can be wonderful. That doesn't mean the problems are meant to be like the whoever called in or wrote in an anchor for you to slingshot to remind you to do the positive. Don't look at it. Here's the deal. A memory is 2 things, an event and an emotion of the event. and your brain has all these events of the past. You can't change the events. You can change the emotion by what you learned. Time doesn't heal, knowledge heals. And knowledge brings a new emotion. You mix it into the old emotion, like dropping new color into a paint bucket, and you change the emotion. That changes the memory. Now you know what happened. It's not in the red file box anymore. It's in the blue, green, yellow, polka dot, purple.
It just makes so much sense.
That was probably the most impactful chapter in that book for me.
Yeah.
Was being able to change how you react to those things.
Jonathan,
we are wired to heal. We are wired to heal.
Jonathan Williams says, I'm potty training my 2-year-old. It's creating new core wounds for me. You know, Randy, I always said, you know, you're getting older when you quit wearing khaki pants because you're upset about the wet spot. But you know you're old when you just put them back on because they're so comfortable. You just don't care anymore.
My dad, when he was in assisted living, didn't want to go down to the cafeteria. He said, man, I might go to the bathroom or something. I said, Dad, everybody else in the room's the same way.
Right. Exactly.
Go have fun and eat. You know, if you got to go, you got to go.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to it. March 24th, 5:30 to 8:30, free event, Walker Auditorium on the UHV campus. Randy Guttenberger.
Bring friends, bring family, bring professionals. This is great stuff. And we do appreciate if you sign up so we have enough handouts.
Yeah,
and if somebody wants to get in touch with you before then, between now and then, how can they do so?
He doesn't take calls.
Not from you.
Actually, I love answering the calls. If I'm not with a client, I'll answer. Right up here, managingacrazy.com. You can reach me, or 281-703-6782. Do I need to type it in chat? 281-703-6782. And I would love to speak at your church or school or organization. We're certified for continuing education credits for counselors and for teachers. We can do staff-in services. There's a lot. I have a certification program. If you're interested in doing this and you want to work and bring these concepts, these mental health solutions to people, love to get you going.
I'll tell you something else that I found interesting. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but I didn't find anything at all in the book that was of a religious nature, nor did I find anything in the book at all that conflicted with my comprehension of Christianity. That right. I have to believe that for you, it's somewhat faith-based. I mean, the logic.
Everything in it is faith-based, and I'm writing that parallel that brings those principles that correlates with it. But I worked in the corporate world, so I knew to write it for the corporate world. And so I'm now coming back, and that's really the 10th step in the program. The first 4 educational, then the applications. But getting body, mind, spirit is very powerful. It's based on Romans 12:2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Why your mind? It's a gift God gave you. He'll renew your spirit. Your mind is yours. You need to manage it, and we're teaching you how.
Awesome.
Well, we're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing you. If you need a place to stay, Ash has room.
And by the way, your spirit has a personality. We call them spiritual gifts, different than your body. Your body has a personality with behavior styles, motivators, learning style, love language, all that stuff. We show and assess all those things. We show you the puzzle pieces. But your spirit has a different personality because it's not physical. That's why we call it spirit. That's a big deal.
No, I'm with you. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you. You have anything else you want to share? I really appreciate the time this morning. I know how busy you are.
Well, I would love to go back in time and run that high school hurdles.
Yeah. Just to be there, right? I would even pull the hamstring just to be 18 again.
You know, every race over 6 years, I got better, except when I ran in Brownsville. For some reason, those big old heavy wooden hurdles kind of psyched me out. But all the other, all the Rio Grande Valley stuff, I ran all those years. But I just knew I was getting better. And that's really the lesson I learned, was that I continuously am getting better. And it's a very interesting thing, because I kept wondering, why am I running all the time?
Right. Absolutely.
But I had a lot of...
That's a good metaphor for life.
It is, absolutely.
Continuously get better, and life will get better.
And, my coaches didn't tell me that stuff. They just told me that the hurdles was one of the hardest races, along with the 880 and the 2 mile for runners to run. So that's what got me going this morning. You
By the
saying
way, all
that.
these folks, Rena Shear, great speaker. Thank you. Melissa Hanson, thanks for having Randy on. It's great to meet the author and hear him in action. I hope you folks can come. And I was thinking about like Rena, you've got a sales staff. You've got folks that interact every day. Get them to this. It's free. And I guarantee you, if you bring your friend or your loved one, at some point in this presentation, you're going to look at them and go, that's me. And you're going to say at some point, that's you.
And if it's pre-marriage, you're getting married, you're dating someone, if it's divorce recovery, if you're married, this will work in any interval. It's very foundational. It's very simplistic. It sounds complex. It's not. My job is to keep it simple for you and help you find what works for you.
Fantastic, my friend. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate you.
Man, you're awesome.
Look forward to seeing you on the 24th at UHV Walker Auditorium, North Building. Thank you, sir.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.
We'll talk to you soon.
Randy Guttenberger, author of Managing Your Crazy Self.
Awesome.
And
he's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. Really, really.
It was super duper. I saw him in Arizona. Of course, I won Arizona. I won most of the states, actually. Unbelievable. Astros, First State Bank of Louise, Astros moment. What do you got?
Commander, where's the camera?
Anything for the Astros? Anything for the Astros?
What do we have for you were telling me that it looks like Forrest Whitley's finally going to break camp with the big team.
Yes, and that looks good. That's good for him. He was a former #1 pick. Everybody wanted him. Now he's like 30. He's battled injuries and mediocrity. His fastball quit moving for a couple of seasons, and they were killing it, even though he throws it like 100.
Yeah.
Chesnick Furniture, Chesnick and Love, make your house a home. Find out why you just always do better at Chesnick. Stop by this weekend. Walk through on a Sunday. See Bobby Leon and his family. You'll be thrilled. They're great folks. They're there to help you. They can show you the latest styles, the latest colors, everything that's happening in furniture. Palace Bingo, Thursday, tomorrow night, the 13th, where friends meet friends. Get to Palace Bingo and have a great time with the Wade and Carter crew. We know Junior will be there. We tried. I was like, shh, tell Junior it's the 14th. But he found out, so he'll be there. White Trash Services, we mentioned them. They're doing training right now.
They are.
Always getting better. White Trash Services, 550-1826. Reach out to them, Adsenhofer and Adsenhofer.com. You're home for a new Chevrolet, a new Mitsubishi. Reach out to Adsenhofer for a gently pre-owned vehicle. They've got a bunch.
They've got a truck on the lot, and they've got great financing and great rates on the trucks right now. So get on by Adsenhofer.
The office is at 205. Come by and see us. We'd love to have you. We're going to start putting up some of these signs of these wonderful events that we are able to promote and try to really kind of, turn this place around and make our office exciting. You're welcome to do that for yourself. The chopping block, the same schedule that we had last week. I visited with Sean Neely just the other day, and he said that it was the same schedule that he's been having, and we'll talk about it.
Wacky Wing Wednesday today. They'll have wings on the food truck, and they'll have wings for sale that you can take home and cook yourself. All sorts of great flavors. If you haven't tried their wings, today is the day.
There you go. Win Services, Win Electrical. You need a generator. You need just general electric work done. Troubleshooting. Your plug won't work. Could be as easy as just replacing the plug. Could be more complicated. Don't do it yourself. Call Win Services. And then brand us. Commander Cody's our guy. What value he has brought to the program and what value he can bring to you, whether you need to monetize your Facebook presence, whether you need help creating a website, whether you want to update a website, reach out to Brand Us. You can find them right here on Facebook.
Sorry, I got too busy looking at the food at this chopping.
Oh, aren't the pictures? I don't know who takes those pictures.
I don't either. They do a very good job.
Remember when food pictures used to be kind of disgusting, but now they look great.
I hate to say it, almost every Mexican restaurant and the Waffle House, their food.
Oh, Waffle House, everything's yellow.
Yeah.
It's just like jaundice on a menu. John Paul Hull says wings are awesome from Chopping Block, and they're super easy.
They have a pineapple, jalapeno, and teriyaki pork sausage that looks phenomenal. So, yeah.
Wow.
Get them by the Chopping Block today.
I love it when a plan comes together. Hats off to you, my friend, for putting all that together and making the split screen work.
Finally.
And for working with Randy Guttenberger, he's just a joy of a guy.
Yeah.
It's a man's man. You think, oh, is he soft? Is he one of those mamby-pamby guys? Not at all, dude. This guy is just telling you, it just will hit you between the eyes. It makes perfect sense. If you ever feel like investing in yourself without having to go see a shrink, come see Randy Guttenberger and shrink yourself.
He wants to fix you if you've got issues. That's the beauty of the
And
Randy.
nobody knows but you. 5:30 to 8:30, free, Walker Auditorium, next Monday. No, Monday after next, the 24th. Be there and have a blast. It's the top of the hour. We love you guys. Go manage your crazy self. Have a great day. Win the week. You cannot win the week if you lose Wednesday.
No, not at all. Bye, folks.
I've been kicked out of my near every bar around.